Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to POSTGAME here on the Cyclone Fanatic Podcast Network, wherever you're watching on social media. My name is Chris Williams. All of our pre- and post-game shows with the Cyclone men's basketball this year are presented by my friends at Channel Seed. Great to have them on Cyclone Fanatic. And we are also presented by Keen Project Solutions and our friends Clay and Chase Natuzel with Raymond James. Probably going to have a little bit of a different take than many of you. I think it's absolutely fine and correct for fans to be disappointed in that. You blow an 18-point lead. God, that would have been epic to be able to get a win over a top 5 team in the first couple weeks of the season like that, really down the stretch, especially when you look at March and all that stuff. But I honestly, like Rob Gray, our senior writer, joins me. You know, all of that is true. What this also told me is that Iowa State's a really good basketball team. I know how good Auburn is. That was a collapse. There's no doubt. But you knew Auburn was going to have a run in them. You weren't going to win that game by 20, like it kind of looked at halftime. And Iowa State just really got it was a tough half, right, offensively in the second half. Ball stuck. Auburn made some great adjustments, I thought. Gilbert gets into foul trouble, probably cost Iowa State the game in all reality because he was the best player on the floor tonight, no doubt. And Baker Mazzara was freaking awesome for Auburn to Broom. What can you say about him? But I don't know, Rob. Like I want to overreact to this, and I don't blame fans at all for being pissed off after blowing an 18-point lead like that.
Yes.
But that was a good basketball game. Two really good teams. What are your thoughts, my man?
Well, lest we forget, last season Iowa State blew a 21-point lead against Texas A&M in Thanksgiving.
Great point. Yeah,
And that was a good A&M team, not nearly as good as this Auburn team. I think big picture, Iowa State showed it's a Final Four contender. Big picture, Iowa State showed that.
Yeah.
Small picture, you can't get out rebounded 21-10 in the second half.
Just
they got owned
destroyed
on the boards in the second half.
Yeah.
Auburn hit 5 threes. Some of them were very difficult shots, very deep. But that's a team that came to ball. That's a team that said, you beat us by 16 in the first half. We're going to come out and kick your ass. And
Totally agree.
they didn't kick the Cyclones' ass. They eliminated the 16-point deficit in about 6.5 minutes. But the Cyclones found ways to respond despite the foul trouble. Keyshawn Gilbert, 23 points in 21 minutes. Critical turnover down the stretch. Do you try to go a little bit earlier, do some actions on that final possession rather than turn it over? And, people can second guess that. Chilovic was on the bench a lot, but I think Heisey gave him a lot more defensively. I don't know. Like you said, it's understandable for fans to be
Totally get it. I was yelling in my basement.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like you figure you're gonna find a way to still pull it out, and that team was tougher than Iowa State tonight, and I think that's a message that TJ and his staff will drum into them. And again, we're very early in the season. Could you ask for a better test? You'd ask for a better way to have to look yourselves in the mirror and say, "We had that game won.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how are we going to make sure this doesn't happen again in these circumstances?"
Couple notes I took, Rob, and thanks to everybody for joining us. We're massive audience of over almost 6,000 people are tuned in right now. As the interest has never been higher in Iowa State basketball, which is fantastic. We're presented by Channel Seed, a new sponsor here at Cyclone Fanatic. Also want to thank Keen Project Solutions and Clay and Chase Natuzel, financials advisors with Raymond James. I thought probably maybe Joshua Jefferson got a little too comfortable in the first half. I thought that the offense. So a couple things happened early in the second half. Iowa State wasn't forcing live ball turnovers like it did in the first half. That's when Iowa State's offense is at its best. It's never going to be a great half-court offensive team, although it should be better this year than the last couple, I think. I thought the Iowa State bigs tried to play a little bit too you wanted them to be aggressive, but that was going to be a game that you just kind of wanted Iowa State's bigs to hold their own and win it with the guards. Thought Jefferson and maybe a little bit the ball kept getting stuck down below. I thought they were trying to force it a little bit, kept going into the teeth of what's going to be a top 5 ranked Auburn defense all season long in college basketball. And the other note, that's probably as poor as Lipsey's going to play all year. He almost looked hurt, and he's not.
Those free throws. Yeah, those two very short free throws.
I mean, he almost airballed both of them. Like I don't know, he did not look good tonight. I see a lot of fans in our comments, and they're ripping Gilbert. And I don't know, maybe I watched a different game, but I thought Keyshawn Gilbert, he was forcing stuff at the end because nobody else could hit a shot. He was 8 of 10 from the field. Yeah. You know, guy had 6 of 7 from the free throw line, clutch ones down the stretch. He only had 2 turnovers in the basketball game. I don't know. Again, maybe I'm watching a different basketball game, but I had one guy tweet at me telling me he wanted Gilbert benched, and it was just like, Jesus, like he's the only guy that can put the ball in the hoop right now. I don't know. Did I watch a different game?
I think that's recency bias, and I think that based on the last turnover, and I think it's overreaction. I mean, like you said, 8 of 10, 6 of 7 from the free throw line. The only guy who could really get to the rim and finish or draw those fouls. And you know, he scored those 4 straight points to tie it up after Auburn took its biggest lead at 4 points. I mean, Keyshawn Gilbert couldn't have done any more in this game, especially being saddled with the foul trouble.
Yeah, I mean, he played great defense, you know?
Yeah, I mean, you got that steal down the stretch. I mean, look, they lost to a great basketball team. Yep. And it's a little bit like the NBA. I've said this before, and by the way, I will say this on our broadcast. My office's lighting is just regular lighting. I know you're a true podcast professional because you've got great lighting. I'm like green or pink on this.
My lighting sucks compared to like a lot of these guys. But no, you're good. I like a little grimy, gritty Cyclone fanatic broadcast. It gives us our flavor, man. That's what makes us, you know. You can drink a scotch while you're on here with us.
Damn right I can. Damn right I can. But I mean, just so many good things they did in this game. It just that's what makes it suck that you lost.
Yes, because you had it won. Yeah. And even at the end, you give up the 18-point lead, and then you have the inbound, and you just have a careless play, right at the end, like we talked about. It was. I don't know. There's nothing good about it, and I guarantee you, Otts is pissed. They know they know the opportunity to have that win in November, what that does to you. But you're gonna get some more options. I mean, either Dayton or North Carolina will be a quad 1 win. Those are both really good basketball teams. You could very well lose to either one of those teams tomorrow as well. A couple other notes I had. Again, so 9 guys score. I thought it was in the first half. The rotation was deeper. I do think there's an aspect of this team where they've got to feel out rotations and substitutions with this particular roster. It felt like Otts was kind of feeling things out a little bit there in the second half, trying to counteract Auburn's run. And I wonder if that's going to be a little bit of a storyline here, Rob, as we get closer to Big 12 play, because he hasn't had this many guys before, right? Like, where's Heisey going to kind of fit? I actually liked Heisey's minutes tonight. I thought he was really active when he doesn't have the basketball. He just needs to hit a shot. I feel like it's just a confidence thing with him at this point. Chatfield played some really nice minutes, I thought, during that basketball game. We saw the freshman Noyes looked really good in that time during the first half. But I don't know. Do you feel that a little bit? Like this might be like you can play with rotations in practice and you can play with different guys in those first 3 games, but it ain't nothing like you just saw. And I don't know. It felt a little bit out of sorts, but that kind of happens when you give up an 18-point lead regardless, right?
Yeah, and then when you're subbing in for foul trouble too. I mean, it wasn't just Keyshawn. I mean, it was other guys at times. And I put out on social media that like, I know nothing, but Demarion Watson's been that quick spark guy a few times. We haven't seen a whole lot of him this year. Maybe you bring him in for a couple minutes, but again, I'm not at practice.
Mm-hmm.
and everything's earned in practice and all that stuff. Like you said, Heisey had really good minutes, especially on the defensive end, I thought. But yeah, a lot to question. Auburn played 10 guys. Iowa State played 9. I mean, both teams went pretty deep. Auburn usually does go that deep. Iowa State, I think, ideally would go 8. I think as the season progresses. But shout out to Deshaun Jackson tonight too. Though
He was great.
9
free
of 10
throws.
from the line. He had such pressure free throws at the end. He held his own against perhaps the best big in the country.
Well,
and,
that's again why I'm kind of like just not gonna freak out here, because it's like, God, like my biggest thing going into this game, I just wanted to see the bigs go up against Auburn, and they not only did they look like they belonged, they competed right there, side by side with them, and I thought were really effective. The other thing to be critical, damn it, like this program still will have those dry spells.
Yeah.
And they had a couple of those tonight. But again, like that is, I want to say it's the best defensive team you'll see all year, but it's going to be top 2 or 3. And
with Houston.
Yeah. And in looking back at that game too, boy, I mean, I thought the play-by-play announcer made a great point. And then I had to turn him off because I flipped it over to Bloom because the color guy was a little much for me. The point he made about how the teams just looked total opposite first half to this, because Iowa State I didn't think looked like the aggressor at all in the second half. In the first half, they were the aggressor, damn it, for 20 straight minutes. Even when Auburn made that little run at the end of the first half, Iowa State was still. You have Noyes going up for dunks, like it and they just kind of lost that edge, and that's up to the coaches and that team to figure out why. What happened. Was it Auburn? Was it that flagrant foul? I felt kind of the one on Jackson kind of flipped that game just a little bit. I don't know. A lot to dissect with that, because that was a really high-end basketball game, right? Yes. Like we've seen those games in Florida last year. I called them on the radio. They weren't good games. You didn't feel like they lost to good teams, and you felt like, God, I remember that flight back. I'm like, this team's not nearly as good as we thought they were going to be. I don't feel that way tonight.
Yeah, and I mean, my heart goes out to the officials in this game. I mean, 2 teams that play defense like that and are, have some elite shot makers, which showed throughout the entire game. It's really hard to officiate those games correctly. I think by rule, flagrant probably on Deshaun Jackson, especially when you see the hand.
Yeah,
on the lower
I think it was. Absolutely.
As the guy goes up, and then he gets up triumphantly and starts going like this. And the one that the Cyclones got down the stretch when Keyshawn went up a little bit into the guy, but the guy essentially just like hip checked him like he's checking him into the boards in hockey. That's not a play on the ball. So by rule, that's got to be a flagrant 2. I mean, flagrant 1 as well. It was a tough game to officiate, and they're going to be tough when they're this high level. And let's not forget this Auburn team went in and beat Houston in Houston. It wasn't technically a road game, I guess, because it was an event.
One of those neutral home games or whatever they're called.
Yeah, but that's an incredible feat. And Iowa State flummoxed that team for 20 minutes. And that team made adjustments, and Iowa State was unable to counteract those adjustments. I think that's why you saw the quote-unquote tale of 2 halves, that cliche. And it took too long to counter those moves. And yet you get up 5 toward the end. You get in that situation, but then Auburn hits a 3 or Room goes and makes a play. I mean, it was always something. Loose balls. So loose balls was like, I don't know what do you call it, like a lottery situation tonight. I mean, it was just 2 teams fighting really hard. And unfortunately for Iowa State, they come up short.
Just for the record, this next game, whoever it will be, I know we'll have a big audience on Tuesday morning listening back on the podcast. Dayton is ranked 40, Ken Palm, and North Carolina is 12. So it's a quad 1 game, no matter who Iowa State plays. Dayton, I don't know if they were picked to win their league, but they've got to be right there. with what they have going on at that program. I hope Lipsy's okay. That's my thing. It's just he seems so weird tonight. Just he made a few of those Taman type plays where he looks like a 60-year-old man getting up off the ground, but it's just like I thought like listen, Gilbert is in my opinion at a different level right now after watching that game. There are times when Keyshawn still looks mildly out of control, but I would argue that he was in control considerably more. Go back and watch the Thanksgiving tournament last year. Yeah. Totally different guy. I know you can get more out of Jones, and Kurt was pretty good tonight. He was I had 14. Second in scoring for Iowa State, but I think you can get more out of him. Even 5 rebounds for him. He was really good on that end. And again, like it was odd tonight because it felt like the whole team and the offense was moving through Keyshawn, and that's okay. I know this team's got to be its best, and that is the plan, by the way. TJ has told us that is the plan. They thought that Taman would be a little bit more natural in that 2 spot. That's how they brought him in. He was forced to play. If you remember when Jeremiah Williams went out and blew out his Achilles that year, and they had to put Taman at point guard.
Tyrese transferred, yeah.
Correct, yeah. So this is all by design, but yeah, it got stuck there in the second half, and the good opponent. But this is why you do it real quick. The metrics have not moved after this loss, which you would expect. Iowa State stays put at 8. I already saw the update right there. So this can't hurt you. It could only help you a lot. And unfortunately, damn it, blew an 18-point lead in Maui. I will say, I wish I was there. Those people looked like they were having a blast.
Yeah.
That crowd was incredible.
Yeah, we got enough going on around here.
Yeah, no kidding.
Football coming up. But I'll say also, they talked about last season, Iowa State's lack of good losses, right? Well, this is definitely a good loss. Mm-hmm. An elite quad 1 loss. Now, you don't want to feel good about that, but you do want to feel good about if this team develops the way last year's team developed, and each team under TJ has developed in his first 3+ seasons here, that the outcome sucks from a Cyclone fan's perspective, but it's going to enhance your chances of getting a higher seeds and all that in March if you take care of business the way you plan on taking care of business in a rugged Big 12, for sure.
So here's the situation now. The next game will be at 7:30 is the tip time tomorrow night on ESPNU. 7:30. A lot of people are asking. That is the approximate start time. I don't know if there will be a game before that one or not. This bracket is so jumbled. Yeah, there will be. So they have a game before them. It'll be the Memphis-Michigan State game will be before Iowa State tomorrow. So that'll be a tentative 7:30. Like if that one goes into overtime, then it'll be a little bit later. But so yeah, just plan on 7:30, 8 o'clock for the tip between that one. But no, we've kind of landed in the same spot, Rob. I like having you on these reactions with me because we can bounce it off and hopefully give a rational take, yet people still know or at least I want the Cyclones to win. You're a little more professional than me. But yeah, it sucks, but I would much rather be playing this game than last year in Orlando where it was A&M and like there was like half of a team that they played. Even the game that they won in Orlando, you didn't even feel good about it.
VCU
I don't remember.
Yep.
Yeah, the VCU game, you felt like God just kind of escaped that. Didn't ever really get into a rhythm. Yep. Those were 2 high-end Final Four caliber basketball teams. Now, like you said, can you develop? Can you keep getting better? Or is this team gonna not do that? I don't know. That's why they play these things. But I like my chances with Otts and those guys, and let's get after it tomorrow. We got a big day tomorrow too, because media for Iowa State, Kansas State, which is coming up on Saturday. Busiest time of the year.
Yep, that and wrestling post Cyhawk reaction. I mean, I'll leave with this thought. How do you think UConn's feeling tonight?
Not as good as Iowa State, I would hope.
I mean, Memphis is always a good mid-major or almost like high mid-major team. And Tyrese Center was spectacular, 7 of 10 from 3. I mean, the way UConn came back and tied that game down 13 or whatever within like the last 4 minutes and tied that game, arguably lost it on Dan Hurley's fit at the referees, rightly or wrongly. You just can't go off like that. And, they're still 2-time defending national champions. They're still going to make some noise in this tournament, and I expect Iowa State to do the same. I mean, from a strict basketball fan's perspective, what an incredible start to the Maui Invitational. From an Iowa State perspective, what a crap start. But you've got a lot to build off, and you know a lot more about your team after you play against an elite team like Auburn is.
I'll give you 2 final thoughts. This game was dictated by rebounding. As you pointed out right when we came on here, 21-10. You got out-rebounded in the first half. And the other thing is, Rob, Iowa State under TJ Otzelberger, it doesn't matter who you're playing, you don't give up 50 points in a half.
Yeah.
We can talk about the offense stalling out. We can talk about bad sets. We can talk about Iowa State basketball doesn't give up 50 points in the second half to anybody, and they did tonight. So I would make the argument that they deserve to lose this game based on what on that program, what it is based off of, what is their identity. They didn't live up to that in the second half tonight. So go and eat your crow, take an ice bath, buckle up, baby. It's tournament time. I love it.
Darn right. And it gives some credit to Auburn, too. A lot of those were tough shots. So a lot
of
those were well-defended shots.
Yeah. Those boys have scholarships, too, and probably getting paid a lot more.
Ask Bloom.
Yeah, I wouldn't know. But all right, Rob, thanks, man. I'll thank our sponsors, and hopefully you can jump on here tomorrow night with me, too. All right, pal?
Awesome. Sounds good, pal.
All right. He is Rob Gray, better at this than me. Gives me more rational thoughts. I don't just come on here and yell at you. Hey, remember, tomorrow night we'll go on about 30 minutes before tip again. Leah and I, Rob and I will be here post-game. This is kind of be the flow here during basketball season. We're going to be doing it the women's games too. We're going to have a different cast of characters coming on about 30 minutes before tip, and then right after basketball games, giving you a reaction, and damn near 10,000 of you watch this thing live tonight, so I know that we're doing something right. All right, thank you to our newest sponsor at Cyclone Fanatic, Channel Seed. Great brand, great people. I know them very well, and I'm very proud to promote them here on Cyclone Fanatic. Keen Project Solutions and the Natuzil family over at Raymond James. Remember them for your financial planning in 2025. My name is Chris Williams, Aiden Wyatt producing tonight's show. And we'll be back round 2 of Maui. Unfortunately, the Cyclones took a tough one tonight. Hopefully they can bounce back in a winning way tomorrow. Thanks for watching and thanks for listening. Follow, like, subscribe, leave a review, all that good stuff here. We appreciate you. It's Cyclone Fanatic.